Thank you all for being here. I'd first like to thank our community for the outpouring of support. Thank you to our local, state, and federal partners who have responded and stood by our side through this tragedy. The men and women of the Arvada Police Department have worked around the clock, and detectives continue to work to determine what happened. The investigation is ongoing, and we are not at a point to release additional details. Our Good Samaritan is John Hurley, 40 years old, from Golden, Colorado. And he is a true hero who likely disrupted what could have been a larger loss of life. Through our investigation, we have not made any prior connection between our Good Samaritan and our suspect.
Hurley, why?
Can you go into greater detail why you described Mr. Hurley as a hero and his actions there?
Again, that he came into the Old Town area in the middle of a shooting and prevented any further injury.
We only have one more question after this.
Aristide, we have been learning new information. Today we found out that Good Samaritan, John Hurley, had just arrived in Old Town Arvada shortly before the shooting happened. An employee who works in the area telling us that it was that Good Samaritan that shot the gunman. Just a short while ago, the Arvada Police Department sent out a press release saying they cannot confirm any of this information because the investigation is still ongoing. Moments before Good Samaritan John Hurley was shot and killed in Arvada Monday, he'd gone into this Army-Navy surplus store where he was a regular. We're told as many as 15 shots were heard directly across the street. An employee confirmed Hurley shot the gunman. We also spoke to the store's manager.
Actually, there was 2 customers that ran out. And John Hurley was just faster and made it. And as some eyewitnesses say, he took down the shooter.
Hurley was then killed too, trying to save lives. Everyone now calling Hurley a true hero for stopping the gunman who killed an Arvada police officer. Brent Welty was within feet of the shooting and saw people wounded. One of them turned out to be Hurley, the hero.
I saw a man in a gurney with handcuffs, and it looked like his pants were down. And I was actually near the hero, and I didn't recognize it. I thought he was the shooter.
Welty tells us he saw emergency workers trying to save Hurley's life by performing CPR for an extended period of time. Several of Hurley's friends told us he'd often help fight for others' rights. A former boss said he always wanted to do the right thing.
We talked about scenarios such as occurred here, and he said multiple times I would be the person to try to help. I would never let anyone else get hurt.
By all accounts, Hurley was a good man who will be remembered for stopping a shooter who could have killed so many others in the heart of Old Town Arvada. And Arvada police telling us this afternoon that they still have not finished talking to all the witnesses, and they still need to collect more forensic evidence. We also found out from this afternoon from the Arvada Police Department that John Hurley went by the name of Johnny and was from Denver, not Golden. Reporting live from the Arvada Police Department, Vicente Arenas, Fox 31.
All right, tonight we are learning more about what happened leading up to that deadly shooting in Old Town Arvada Monday. Police say the suspect, Ronald Troike, targeted and ambushed Arvada officer Gordon Beasley, who died after being shot. Arvada police say that we are aware of a document that led us to the information we shared at the press conference yesterday about Arvada police officers being targeted. That document was found in the suspect's apartment. There are still questions about the Good Samaritan, John Hurley, who was also shot and killed on Monday. Alan Janae looking into this for us tonight. And Alan, witnesses are attesting to his quick action.
Well, there's a clearer picture coming out now tonight about the bravery of John Hurley. Hurley's family right now is waiting for word from Arvada police to clear up questions about just who shot him. But a woman who works here at the Schoolhouse restaurant wants to make it clear that what he did when he sprinted across that square was incredibly brave.
Waitress Cody Groskevich looks at a photo of John Hurley and is sure.
I do know his face from around Old Town.
This is the man who's a hero to her and so many others.
Because I wanted people to know what he did, especially I think you mentioned his sister or any one of his family members, that it was the bravest, most selfless thing that I've ever witnessed in my life.
At the Army-Navy surplus store, they saw Hurley bolt out, shout to people to stay inside, and run toward the library.
I watched him run straight into the biggest danger I can ever imagine. He sprinted full speed, no hesitation.
Officer Gordon Beasley was down, mortally wounded.
And there was no other police officers around at the time, no one else there to prevent anything else from happening.
Hurley hit on one side of the wall, shooter Ronald Troike on the other.
I know he had his gun around the wall, and I saw him kind of looking around there.
The surplus store's owner says when the shooter emerged, Hurley shot 5 to 6 rounds toward Troike.
I mean, the police showed up very quickly, but within that time, you never know. He could have made it to the library. He could have made it to another business right there.
Or into the schoolhouse kitchen and libations, where she hustled dozens of customers into the basement, while John Hurley lost his life.
He will forever be in my heart for what he did because, like I said, I don't know what would have happened to any of us.
Now, she heard 3 distinct series of gunfire, 1, 2, and 3 separated by time. Autopsies are not yet complete on the 3 who died here on a Monday afternoon. It was to be a regular Monday until this shooting, and there's still a lot of questions to be answered. In Arvada, I'm Alan Janae, covering Colorado First.
The man who stepped in during Monday's deadly shooting in Arvada and who was described by officers as a Good Samaritan was killed by police.
And that we know based on multiple conversations with multiple sources. What exactly transpired, what led to Johnny Hurley being killed after confronting a gunman is something we are still trying to understand.
Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez has been speaking with people who knew Johnny Hurley. We're going to hear from him in just a moment. We're going to begin the broadcast with Denver 7 Chief Investigator Tony Kowaleski, who confirmed this story and has details on it for us tonight. Tony?
Yeah, good evening, Shannon and Ann. Let me begin by saying these are difficult details to share because these are life and death decisions made in an instant. In the hours after the shooting, Arvada police have confirmed the gunman was responsible for the brutal murder of Officer Gordon Beasley. We know that Samaritan John Hurley has been credited with heroic actions, but until now we did not know who killed the gunman and who was responsible for killing Samaritan Hurley. What we are sharing with you comes from 3 ranking and informed sources at the highest levels, as Arvada PD did confirm the gunman shot and killed Officer Gordon Beasley. After that, Samaritan John Hurley responded to the sound of gunshots and shot and killed the gunman. Our sources telling us Samaritan John Hurley was killed by gunfire from a responding officer. Our news team has been in lengthy discussions with Arvada leaders today, making sure they were aware of the information that we've uncovered. In response to our calls, Arvada PD offered this statement: "We will not confirm until the investigation team finishes its interviews and reviews forensic information." More context for you now. To date, Arvada PD has not said how Samaritan Hurley was killed, only calling him a hero. We must stress, this is not an indictment on the decision by the officer in a very tense and clearly a life and death situation. We now know the missing details. We know it is standard protocol in these situations to conduct ballistic reviews, and those take time. It's also standard to conduct extensive interviews with witnesses and first responders. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is now leading this investigation. We expect to hear more in the next 48 hours from Arvada PD.